Hello, how you guys doing? Day 575. And I'm just doing a little grounding, yes, just walking around my front yard and also up and down my street. I actually usually walk on this side. I just all the way up and all the way back down. I'll do this for half an hour usually. But man, it's still cloudy, but still a beautiful day in Vancouver. Why? Because I'm above ground. Every day is a great day. Got my health. And oh my gosh, what is this? It's the book. Let's see here. 13 things mentally strong people don't do. Oh my gosh. Let's see what we can learn from it. Shall we? So I just finished a chapter. So one of the things that mentally strong people don't do is they don't give up after the first failure. Now, how many of you guys quit when things don't go your way? Well, quit after the first time you failed. You tried something and you failed. And you may not even know it, but it may have come when you were a kid, a child. And if so, that may have shaped your beliefs. For example, if you failed at let's say math, maybe for the rest of your life you thought, I'm not a math person. Or I can't teach. Or I'm not a teacher or whatever, right? Maybe you failed at something and you told yourself that story over and over again. But is that the truth? Just because you failed one time, does that mean that you fail every time, that you can never actually learn something? And the truth is no. And that's what mentally strong people, they understand. When you try something for the first time, guess what? For you to actually get to the point where you want to be, called quote-unquote success, you actually have to go through failure. No matter what you want to learn, you're going to fail the first time, the second time, the third time. Why? Because you're just learning a new skill. Hey Lisa, how you doing? Hey, looking forward to starting that meditation challenge with you and everyone else, of course. Okay, so why do we give up though? Have you ever given up when you first started something? I know for myself, even with the streak right now, 575 days, OMG. But how did I get here? How did I get to a point where I could actually stay consistent? Oh my gosh. Because guess what? I've tried many times to get on a challenge, a 21-day challenge, a 30-day challenge, a 90-day challenge. Guess what? I never succeeded in any. And I tried for over 15 years. Oh my gosh. Wow. I could have internalized it and said, you know what? I suck. I'm a failure. I'm no good. I'll never get this consistency thing down. I'll never develop the right character. I'll never develop the right grit and perseverance. And so I might as well, I suck. I could have said that, but I never did. Why? Because it doesn't serve me. And if you think that way, it doesn't serve you either, my friends. So stop it. I'm just joking. Yes, definitely. I encourage you to stop that, but understand that I've been there, so I get what you're feeling. I get what you're going through. I know it seems like a huge hurdle, but once you get over it, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I made it such a big deal. When in actuality, it's not as big as you may think. But why do we give up? And in this book, the author Amy Morin basically says fear is often at the heart of our unwillingness to try something after we failed at it already. But not everyone shares the same feelings about failure, right? And so, I guess I'll just share from me. I didn't want to disappoint my parents. I didn't want to look bad. I feared being judged, right? A lot of fear, if you will, when it comes to trying something new and being judged. And so I know at times, his confession, I would not give it my all at something. And when I failed, I had a built-in excuse. How ridiculous is that? But guess what? I'm guilty. Why? Because I want to, it's such a self-sabotage for myself. I set myself up for failure. I don't know if anyone else has done that, but I've done that. Thankfully, not too many times, but when I was younger, I definitely did. Why? I didn't want to look bad. I didn't want to be judged. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. We're all on our own personal journey. And so what is it that you really want? And I say go after that, okay? And obviously if you fail at something that's not important to you, then you don't need to keep failing at it, right? For example, I don't know, I'm not much of an artist. Guess what? When I draw people or stick figures, it's not very good, but it's not something that I want to actually develop. So it's okay to stop if it's actually not important to you. I'm just talking about things that are actually important to you. So let's see here. And also another thing is giving up can be a learned behavior, right? For example, if you found something really hard, maybe your parents said, hey, maybe they want to coddle you and protect you and say, you know what, it's okay, you don't have to keep trying. And they made it easy for you. Maybe they did it for you. Maybe you couldn't read something, so they just read it for you. Maybe you can't use chopsticks, and so they just picked the food for you, give you a fork, and made it easy for you. And so you maybe learned as a child that, hey, you know what, if it gets too hard, I don't actually have to learn it. I'll just find an alternative and not have to actually work hard to develop a certain skill. And again, does that serve you, right? Again, I'm not telling you what you need to do, what you should do, just some thoughts for you to think about how and why you may do certain behaviors or your certain thought process, okay? But the thing is, when you give up and we're given to failure, again, it starts to become a mindset. You start to think that it's okay, and you continue to do it every time. And typically, whatever we decide or think, it actually affects all areas of our lives, whether it be work, whether it be relationship, whether it be romances, whether it be health, right? And so again, always starts with just ask yourself, what are my beliefs? What are my beliefs surrounding this area? And also ask yourself again, goes back to the simple things, your values. What do you value? What's important to you? Okay? And so perseverance and failure, okay? Okay, so she says here, deliberate practice is more important than natural talent. And so as kids, the gap in talent is actually quite large. It can be quite large. And when you see certain kids really have a huge advantage, because at that, you know, when you're high school and younger, you're still developing, you're still learning, you're still growing. And so certain kids develop quicker, and guess what? You have a massive advantage over those who don't learn as quickly. However, if you are willing to actually keep at it, be consistent, and have deliberate practice, guess what? You will actually pass the person who has a lot of natural talent over time. It won't happen overnight because they had a much bigger lead, but if you can stay consistent, you can actually eventually pass them. And so it says here, research studies have found that after 10 years of daily practice, people can surpass others with natural talent in chess, sports, music, and the visual arts. After 20 years, many people who lack natural talent can gain world-class achievement. Wow, world-class, my friends, but that's 20 years, right? So are you willing to put in 20 years to work at a certain craft, at a certain ability? Okay, second thing, grit is a better predictor of success than IQ. Okay, what is grit? It is defined as perseverance and passion for long-term goals. And it's been is shown to be a much more accurate predictor of achievement than IQ. IQ just tells you how intelligent, quote unquote, intelligent you are. Really, what is this about? A certain way of thinking, really, is what it is. And then the third point here, attributing failure to a lack of ability leads to learned helplessness. And again, I kind of told you, give you the example of the kids, right? They start to, again, wait for somebody to come rescue them or fix their problem. And so don't give in to that, my friends. Don't give in to failure the first time. Okay, so what can you do? Change the way you think about failure, right? Again, failure is the pathway to success. Without failure, there is no success. You can't be successful without going through failures. So if you understand that, it's a great first step to actually creating the results that you want. Okay, and so she talks about here, self-compassion increased self-improvement motivation. And so do you view your results as the end all of be all and base your self-esteem and self-worth on that? Or do you have self-compassion and understand that, hey, you know what? I'm learning and I'm growing, and I'm not where I want to be yet. Okay, that's a much more healthy way to look at failures. Okay, tell yourself, I can handle failure, I can learn from failures, right? Failure is a sign that I'm challenging myself, and I can choose to try again. It's a choice, and I have the power to overcome failure if I choose, right? So again, my friends, you have to choose. I know it's not easy, because many times after a failure, I would maybe hide in the corner, if you will, for a little bit in that area. But then I know for myself, I get back up. Okay, let's try again, because there's no use in wallowing in any self-pity, right? That doesn't serve anybody, especially yourself. Most important thing, you gotta face your fear of failure. Okay, even if you failed, get back up. If you need, take a little break, but you do need to face your fear, no matter what that is. Okay, but just don't take too long, obviously. And of course, you all have to have discernment on how long that would be, depending on how important the result you're looking for is. After that, you got to move forward after failure. Okay, if your efforts aren't successful at first, you got to keep trying. You got to keep going at it. Okay, but don't just jump in blindly. Evaluate. What did I do that could be better? What did I do that wasn't so great? Right? Because you have to adjust as you go. It's not just about putting your head down and just keep going at it and doing the same thing over and over again, right? Okay, here's another thing. Bouncing back after failure will make you stronger. Now that's the most important thing. Okay, understand that you're like I guess failure is kind of like, what is it? Like an arrow in the quiver, right? You pull it back, which is failures. Why? So that you can be launched into success, into the life that you want. So again, failure, what is your relationship with failure? Okay? What's helpful? Viewing failure as a learning opportunity. Resolving to try again if your first attempt was not successful. Facing your fear of failure. Developing a new plan to increase the chance of success. Identifying and replacing irrational thoughts about failure. Focusing on improving your skills rather than showing them off. And what's not helpful? Allowing failure to stop you from reaching your goals. Considering future attempts to be a lost cause if your first attempt wasn't successful. Quitting because you don't want to tolerate discomfort. I think that's a big one for a lot of people. I don't want to be uncomfortable, so I'm not going to try. Number 4, defining a task as impossible because it didn't work the first time. So that's ridiculous. Allowing yourself to think the failure is worse than it is. And the last one, refusing to participate in tasks where you are not likely to excel. And so, I think we're all guilty of this, right? I know for myself, let's see here. My knees. So again, mentally strong people, they don't quit after the first failure, okay? Because they understand that failure can actually be very, very beneficial. Anyway, some of the stuff that I share with you is really, I encourage you to just really reevaluate what is your relationship with failure? Do you like it? I don't think many people like the feeling that comes with it, but what is your relationship with it? Do you avoid it like the plague? Or like COVID? Or do you embrace it and understand and say, you know what, this is a part of the learning process. This is tied to my journey to success. Okay. Anyways, just a few thoughts for the book that I want to share with you guys. Hopefully that helps you, and hopefully it helps you understand yourself a little bit more on maybe how you think or how you view certain things in your life. Anyways, hope you're doing amazing. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Ciao.